Our focus and concentration has been excellent this week, and I would expect nothing less from this group. They've been preparing well all year long, and as with any other long week, we try to make sure that we're focused as much on our fundamentals and improving and getting better at things that are going to help us over the long haul, as well as getting ready for the short term, which is always the next game. And obviously with this game, there's a lot of things you have to be really good at. The bottom line is the fundamentals. You've got to be able to take care of the ball. You've got to be a very good blockout team. We've got to make the next pass. We've got to be prepared for a lot of different ways that the game could go, whether it's a grinded out game, no matter what it is. We have to make sure that we're locked in. We are not in a place like most teams that would play a team like Kentucky, where you can even come close to mirroring the length and athleticism that you're going to see in the game on Saturday. So the most important thing is that we just make sure that focus and concentration on what we need to do and how we need to prepare to play that team is imperative. And our guys have done a very good job of that with another day and a walkthrough of preparation left.
Do you think this group is mature enough to not come out too hyped and too excited for this
I don't
game?
think there's any way to forecast that, because there is a lot of hype. There's going to be a lot of energy in the building. And this is a very caring group. I mean, they care about how they play. They care about each other. They want to do well. There's still a lot of relatively very young guys that will be in an environment like that. I mean, Victor Oladipo had 5 turnovers last year. Will he played 5 minutes. And those are 2 key contributors to us. Cody, Austin, Remy have not been in the environment. It won't be the last time they're in an environment like this, but it'll be the first thing. The closest they had was maybe the Butler environment with the intensity and energy of the crowd, and I think this one will probably go above and beyond that. But no, as long as we're focused on what we're trying to do, it's not like we can have some magic words to calm them down. I mean, I would want guys excited to play, and we just have to play. The key is that we stay true to the game, which is fundamentals, discipline, execution, energy, all those kind of things, and not get out of character. That's what you worry about the most in any type of situation that's relatively new for a group like it is for this one. But it's going to be different for them too. It's their first road game, a true road game as well. So it's going to be a matter of the team that makes the fewest mistakes.
Tom, when you go against a team that blocks shots so well, do you just go at them and attack? How much of an effect?
You have to attack very smart, and there are certain things that go into that. But to think that it's going to be conventional basketball and we're just going to go up and shoot it over top of this team, that's not realistic. And I think that's hopefully our guys are astute enough to understand that, and they have to be, because we don't want to be in a situation where we're just allowing them to play volleyball with the basketball, whether it's on the backboards or whether it's with the block shots. And that's, again, where fundamentals, execution, next pass, all those things, kickouts, drop-offs, every one of those things is crucial. This is not a game where you can ever think you're going to take hero shots and that it's going to work out for you. You've got to make the next pass. And if you do that, and our team is fairly cerebral, we have some instinctive guys, and they've been moving the ball really well. So this is also not a game where we can't have a half where we come in and say, okay, we just missed 7 layups. We can't have that. We've had some of that this year, then we've regrouped. You've got to take advantage of your opportunities, because again, it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyways, the margin for error when you're playing a team of this kind of athleticism and length, I mean, it's really tight, so you got to make sure you're doing the right things.
You guys you're giving up 14 offensive rebounds a game. I mean, how concerning is that playing a team like this?
Oh, there's no question. It's been the key to the games the last couple of years. There's no doubt about it. Our lack of rebounding and our lack of free throw attempts versus their just numerous free throw attempts and second chance points and things of that nature. So there's no question, taking care of the basketball, but also fighting on the backboards are the keys to the game, without a doubt. Everything else is in there, and everything else is important, but there's no 2 things more important than that.
Does their quickness make you consider zone a little bit more?
We consider a lot of things, and we have a lot of things in the bag that we would be capable of using. And again, most of those things go on field. It's how the game is going, where our shots are coming from, where their shots are coming from. And there's no question we can be a better rebounding team, and we've shown at times where we can get better rebounding it in the game, especially in the NC State game. But this is a whole different deal here. This length and athleticism is at a whole other level. And we haven't played anybody with that as yet. I mean, certainly we have a lot of athletic teams and tough teams and physical teams, people like that we'll see as the season goes on and as the Big Ten gets started. But there's nobody that combines this type of length, athleticism, and explosiveness all at once.
There's something like 103rd defending the three-pointer. Is that important to get those shots falling early in this game?
I think it's important that you get good shots. I haven't been too hung up all year long if we're missing shots, as long as they're good shots. Even in the Butler game, the whole message at halftime is, let's just keep having positive energy. We're just missing some shots we make. So when you're getting shots that you make and they're not necessarily going in, that's a lot easier to deal with, and you know that it's just a matter of time before it corrects itself. But when you're taking challenge shots or you're not making the next pass, that's where you've got to get it figured out quickly. So in answer to your question, the bottom line is if we're getting good shots, the bottom line is we've got good enough shooters that we're going to make those. If we're taking challenge shots, and again, the thing that there's just no way to duplicate this, and this is, I think, one thing that makes Davis such a special player, is he can make up, if there's a mistake made defensively, he can make up for it, like maybe nobody else I've seen. And I know the season's early, and I haven't watched everybody play at all, haven't watched that many teams at all play, I guess, but I can't think of anybody that can make up for mistakes that his teammates might make, whether they go for a steal or they gamble, they cover the ground that he covers. It's amazing. And Jones is a much improved defender. And just really, Jones seems to be playing the game at a really high level in all facets. So I think he's done a great job of improving. And the rest of them are long and athletic, and we haven't even talked about Gilchrist, who's probably the main energy source of their team. So you've got to make sure that next pass is there. We don't want to be living on challenge shots.
How much better prepared do you think this group's going to be? Because you have guys in the program that have been here for 3 and 4 years and been in a lot of big games.
Well, I think it comes into the week. I think it comes into how that concentration and focus is as you lead up to it. And they're well aware of the vibe of this game and the buzz. They're well aware that people were camping outside. I mean, they know that, but that's not what they're focused on when they're in practice and when we go to the films. I mean, they really are, and they've been this way all year. So it's not like it's just all of a sudden the last couple of weeks, last couple of days. They've been this way. Doesn't mean we always play well, but we've been really locked in and focused. So that's a huge part of the maturity process. There's no doubt.
After the stretch that you just went through, how good is it to have a week to prepare for Kentucky, a week to prepare next week for Notre Dame?
I don't like it personally. It's because as the week goes on, you just get that much more edgy as a coach. The key is that you really better make sure that your practices, you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to spend so much time that they're not excited about the game. And I think when I was a younger coach, I probably did too much of that. We want to be really, really prepared, but at the same time, we want the energy to be really high and for them to be excited. In a long week, I've never liked it. You know, I love the short turnarounds. I think the players probably like the short turnarounds, but this is the way that it is. So with that time that we have to prepare, we know that they have the same thing. So you have to prepare for a lot of different scenarios, and you make sure that you're thorough in everything that you do, and it's good. And that when you have long weeks, that's where I've really tried to take from my family and from some of my friends in football, and is how to really max out that week without doing too much too soon and without trying to play catch up at the end of the week.
How did you change structure then? I mean, is there anything that you guys...
Well, it's over a period of time. It's when you put the late game situational things in. It's maybe being a little more focused. Like a day like today was much more game plan oriented, not as much physical, not as much up and down, but really indicate it's very fundamental driven, but this is how we need to play and to break those drills down. And at the same time, you're doing things that you know you're going to need down the road. Could need as early as next week, could need 2 weeks from now. So you've got to make sure that when you have a long week, you're not just locking into the game that you're playing, you're locking into your team getting better. And hopefully that's helping you get prepared for the game. So it's not a lot of, we might be out there a long time, like today, but we're not necessarily up and down the court. So there's time to get your walkthrough type of things in, there's time to get a lot of shooting in. It just kind of varies, but you don't have to get it all in one day. You don't have to get it all in 2 days. You can refine it as the week goes on. You can add things and you keep that concentration right.
Coach, what do you remember about playing Kentucky when they were number one? I think it was back in 03.
I remember we got them down 24 points, so I remember. And our guys were so focused to play. I was in Milwaukee the other night recruiting, and 4 of my former players came over, and a couple of them that were on that team. And we had it was so much about our mindset, which is what a game like this has got to be. They had won 26 straight games. They'd been behind all of 11 seconds inside of those 26 straight wins. And our practice the day between the Pittsburgh game and the Kentucky game was so good. Dwayne Wade took 3 charges in an hour and a half practice, and we had 2 guys go for a loose ball that took out basically 8 or 9 chairs at the Metrodome. I know a couple of them had to be replaced. That's what I remember. It was so much about what our mindset was going to be like to play that game. And there again, you had a very short period of time to prepare. You play on a Thursday, and you go back to the hotel, and you're getting locked into the game, and then it's Friday, and then all of a sudden there's Saturday afternoon. So we didn't have a lot of time to get through everything. We had to make sure that our mentality was right. And our guys, we got down, and we were kind of letting them do what they wanted to do. We locked in defensively, we started to make shots, and it just snowballed. And it was a fantastic win.
Is this the first time, with all the talent that they have, is this kind of the first time since you've been in Indiana that you kind of feel like you don't come into this feeling like you're bringing rocks to a guy fight?
I've never felt like that. We've always felt like, even though the talent difference has been great, we've never looked at it. There's always a game plan, and you always believe it. I mean, last year it was 58-57 or 57-56 at one point inside of that game. So if you don't believe you can win, at some point in time, your players are going to not believe they can win either. And we've never felt like that. Even going in the first year, knowing what it was like and going into that environment and being down so much, we knew we'd have to play a really good game, but you have to believe you can win. We're bridging the gap, so to speak. We can't mirror the length. We're getting closer to being able to mirror the length, but we're not there yet. So again, it just continues to be, we better stay in character, because if we deviate and we get lulled into a game that we don't want to play and they want to play it, we have no chance. So it's still about how do we do the best job with what we have, and at the same time try to negate some of that talent and athleticism that they have, and that's what the whole trick is. But again, it doesn't matter who your team is, it doesn't matter how talented they are. If you start thinking that you can take chances and not take care of the ball, or you start thinking you're going to beat these guys in a jumping contest for balls, you've got no chance. We've learned the hard way a couple times with that the last couple of years.
Do you try to control pace, or do you not think about it?
We very well might. Yeah, this may very well have to turn into a grinded out. There's no question. And we've got to make sure that we're taking care of the basketball.
Are they a tougher team now that Marcus Teague's finally adjusted to this level?
Well, I think they've been good. I think the thing that separates them right now is their defense. I've always felt that John doesn't get nearly enough credit as a coach for his defense. I felt like that when I was in Marquette and he was at Memphis. And they've always been so good defensively. And he's always got a game plan. He's always got different things that he can go to. And he does a great job of getting talent to play really, really hard. So that's the kind of thing that this is the best defensive team, just in my opinion, that he has had in this time. And because of the fact they've got so much length that they can make up for mistakes. They can be out of position, and all of a sudden they're not out of position anymore. And that's a real treat to have that as a coach. And we've got to make sure that we don't get caught in that trap. But they're really, really good defensively. Really good.
You mentioned the kids camping out, I guess. What was it like to see that on Tuesday, and are you a little bummed that they couldn't stay?
No, you know what? I was going recruiting when it started, so I was really excited. Then went out there yesterday. I think the school made the right decision because when I went out there yesterday afternoon, and it was cold, and I'm only out there for a few minutes, and I'm starting to think, no, these guys are going to be out here a long time. I didn't feel good about that. I mean, I was in practice. Our office was involved in that. I wasn't as involved at all. And I just appreciate the way that they came out. I think that was a great message on how that the school athletic department is handling this. But those kids got there early, letting them have the ability to get into that game. And the next thing I think is, okay, if it's going to be 7:15 in the morning, let's make sure that there's enough for them to do, that people are out there paying attention to them, that they can get maybe some space heaters out there, and I'm even hoping maybe that we put up not a tent where, certainly I understand that, where people can't stay in a tent, but where there's something that shields the wind. And you think about where this happens at Duke. Well, we don't have Duke weather. You know, it's a little different. So you want to make sure that these kids, these young people, that you really appreciate their passion, but you want them to be safe. And it's hard to make sure that your kids, that they're responsible for being in all their classes and in school, and yet they can look out and see some people, they just might not be in class that day. So we don't want to do anything to affect the GPA overall at Indiana either.
I think 2 years ago when the game was here, there was a lot of blue in some of the high donor areas and stuff. I remember there was some talk about that afterwards. I mean, there's only so much you guys can do
Sure.
about that, but did you feel like...
Well, I would hope not. You know what I mean? I would hope that people would care more about the program than to do that. But you know what? How much blue really wants to come? If you follow if you follow his Facebook, 70% of the people want the game dropped, right? So why should any of the blue even come up? So, no, in all seriousness, I hope that doesn't happen. I mean, you know, there's going to be opposing fans come in, just like we're going to be in different buildings. But I would really hope, not that I can do anything about it, not that I'm really going to care when tip-off starts, but I would really hope that people wouldn't give their tickets in a game like this to those prime seating areas. So I hope they don't.
You've talked at length since you've been here about the fan support and everything like that, but what has it been like just to see them get to really hone in on a game and really sort of focus, spend a week making it?
You know, I guess the extent for me has been seeing how the fans came out, seeing how our students came out, and there's been more national requests this week. Not that I can get to all of that, but we've been so locked in. And then I went recruiting. We've been locked into what we're doing. It's a good feeling because you want your players to feel really good about what they're doing, and I think that's what's happening. And I'd like to think that a game like this has got a build-up, certainly because it's Kentucky and it's a rival and they're really good, and it's not that often that a number one ranked team comes in. But I'd like to think that a lot of it's got to do with the way our players are playing too, and the way they represent the university, the way they represent each other, the way they represent the state, and that's good. That's good for everybody because this program has never waned in the sense of the tradition and the support and the passion for it. Our teams haven't been up to par. And this team is getting closer and closer to being one of those teams that people can not only be excited about the program and what it means, but what the team's bringing. And that's what we keep trying to refine. So that's where my focus personally, and I think our coaching staff and players' focus has been more than anything else.
With the build-up and the fact that they haven't played a true road game, I mean, is that something that you feel like will really play to your advantage on Saturday, or do you think that'll kind of be negated once the game starts?
It's hard to tell. It's a hypothetical, so it's really hard to tell. I think that they're really good. I mean, there's no way around that. They're really long. They're really athletic. They're skilled, and even though they've got some new guys, they've got guys that have played at a pretty high level. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere, and we've already had some, and I think this one is going to be fantastic. And how that plays into it, I don't know. I just know that we can't turn the ball over, and we have got to block out. So that's really what the focus is more than anything else.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Thanks.